everybody. Reporting to you again from the Glamour City, Hollywood.
You live, the life that other expect you to live. How can I unlock myself? And a lot have been said, like we said about, why, but not about how. And how is, so you have to go to this transformation of your mindset that I call a mind shift. So you have to shift. I'll give you two examples, also a couple of examples, like you challenge your beliefs. Is it true that I should be perfect? Is it relevant? Is it helpful today? If the answer is no, you let go. Also, you can challenge your fears, because we all face our fears. We need to face our fears. Fears are part of human being also.
If you love listening to this show, please consider giving a rating and a review on Amazon Alexa or wherever you listen. We want to continue bringing you this amazing content, and part of our ability to do that means that we need a big audience. Now, it may not seem like much, but rating and reviewing the show will help more people find us, just like how you found this show. Simply on any podcast platform, search for a show, scroll down to the bottom, and push 5 stars. It's that easy. Thanks for supporting the show. Today, I'm joined by Hortense le Gentil, author of The Unlocked Leader, Dare to Free Your Own Voice, Lead with Empathy, and Shine Your Light in the World. Welcome to the show today.
Thank you for having me, Scott.
There are plenty of research that shows that the higher you go up in corporate America, into the C-suite, or if you take the example of somebody like Elon Musk, for example, the messages and the reports that they get become very highly filtered. So what they hear is really things that's only favorable to the ears of the executive. And I'll go even very far to an extreme to Vladimir Putin as an example, where he doesn't like what you have to share. That person who delivered the message is going to suddenly go missing. So people start to fabricate stories to appease his version of fantasy. So in that kind of backdrop, when we think about the different leadership styles, we think about those who are autocratic, authoritative, pace-setting, democratic, coaching, affiliative to laissez-faire. In your book, your theme is around becoming an empathetic leader who doesn't get in his or her way with their tried and true mindsets. Is that right?
Yes, it is. So I talk about how to free yourself from your mind traps that hold you back. And today, in the world that we are living in, the world is changing so much, and it can be a bit scary. We cannot have all the answer. So I think the old model of leadership doesn't work anymore. People expectation changed. They want to connect with you. They want to connect with leaders. They don't need another hero, like Tina Turner said. They need a human being. So as a leader, how you can become, and become this human leader? How do you begin, the journey for being these human leaders? And this is what the book is about. And because a lot have been said about why we should lead with empathy, but not when it comes to the how we can do it.
So we're going to dig into this, but I'm also going to present a opposing perspective as well, is that, recently, at the timing of this recording, not too long ago, within the last year or so, we've seen waves of layoffs from technology companies, prominent S&P 500 companies that from a culture have told their employees that they matter, that we have an empathy culture, that we care about you. Yet the same company and the employers literally did it in such a way where people found out by accident. They came all the way to work, try and badge in, they're locked out of the building. Or they tried to log into their email in the system, they can't get in. So there's this, we're hearing one thing from certain corporate cultures and those architects that are trying to create these environments. But yet, in another hand, when we need to make the quarterly earnings reports, we're more than happy to cut off and let those people go, including mothers who were on leave because they're expecting or they just had a child, for instance, and letting them go while they're out of the office. How do we reconcile all these?
Okay. When I talk about being a human leader and taking care of people, connect with people, this is not the problem. That this is not just a word. This is not a fashion. This is not something that you put on your wall and you'll say, I trust you. I believe in you. This is something that you own as a leader. If you want to be empathetic, you have to first, you become, and the first things to do is to be empathetic with yourself. You have to start by yourself. And so what you're talking about is a lot of things. So first, imagine that you have to lay off and let go of some people because of the business or whatever it is. There are ways and ways to do it. You can still be human. If you send an email to everyone and you just, send a sign that you don't care, but you can take the time to talk to people, to connect with them, and maybe to help them, on their next step, to explain. And this is how, you can still be a human leader because you do that. Sometimes, yes, you have to take a hard decision. That's true. But there is way to do it. Again.
So we're going to come back to some of these things a little bit later, but let's get into some of the definitions. You use derivatives from the term mindset to create your own nomenclature, such as mind traps, mind shift, mind build in your book. So let's give our audience some definitions. What is mind trap, mind shift, and mind build?
So mind trap is a mental obstacle that stands between you today and you tomorrow. The mind trap is this feeling, we all feel trapped at one point. And this is this feeling of, I try something, I used to do that, it doesn't work. And you try again, it doesn't work. And you don't know why, because you use, for example, to be successful and, to be this, what I call hero leader, have all the answers. And one day you wake up and it's not true anymore. Because today, can you have all the answers when you wake up in the morning? The world changed so fast and so much. You cannot, right? And so we are locked somewhere. So this is a mind trap. And so where it's coming from and things like that. So it's coming from a couple of examples. Could be coming from a trauma that you've been goes through and is still there, is not overcome, or it could be from outside voices, collective voices, education, your parents, whatever. They could say something. For example, you have to be perfect, and you stick with that. I have to be perfect. But if you still feel like I need to be perfect, you cannot be perfect, right? That's not possible. And first, as a human being, it's difficult. And second, it's even impossible. And second, in that world, we make mistakes, and that's normal, right? And so, where you have to challenge those voices. And what I learned from my experience is the first step to unlock yourself, because you are locked. So you're locked. And the problem is you don't live your life. You live, the life that other expect you to live. So how can I unlock myself? And a lot have been said, like we said, about, why, but not about how. And how is, so you have to go to this transformation of your mindset that I call a mind shift. So you have to shift. I'll give you two examples, also a couple of examples, like you challenge your beliefs. Is it true that I should be perfect? Is it relevant? Is it helpful today? If the answer is no, you let go. Also, you can challenge your fears, because we all face our fears. We need to face our fears. Fears are part of human being also. So we are afraid of failure, of course. You are afraid to fail. Maybe you can be afraid also of facing your emotions. So have this, first be aware of your fears. And second, have this conversation with your fears. Hello. Yes, I know I'm afraid, okay, how can I deal with that? What can we do? And this is really something very important. And after, you can ask, for support, of course, to do it. And you don't have to do everything at the same time. You can go, step by step. So this is a mind shift. This is, this transformation in your mind. If you will, our brain is an unbelievable machine. It's, connected. We have, I think, something like 100 billions of neurons. And so they are all connected. It's like, the fifth element of Luc Besson. It's all, you imagine these cars everywhere, going everywhere, and, the color and difference. So your brain is making connection. And it works until a time it doesn't work anymore. And this is when and where you are locked. So what we want to do is change this connection. So, okay, you go to one building to another building. No, you need to disconnect and go to another building, because it doesn't help you anymore. And this is this mind shift process, that I suggest, is how you rewire, your brain. And when, you are completely yourself and you free yourself and rewire, how you write your own story. Your mind built, how you stay like that, how you keep this connection between, the two buildings, in order. So, and this is when you reflect about what drives you, what is important. How do you want to be remembered as a leader? I give, for example, the exercise of writing your eulogy. When you will be out of the pictures, what do you want people to tell about you? This is the memories, the legacy. It's time to think about it. And it will become your drivers, your why, your anchor. And so write your story. What do you want to do? How you want to show up? We just talk about that as a leader, how you want to show up. And you do your daily rendezvous with yourself, I like to say, to be sure that you are still on track, because it's a muscle. It's like, you broke your arm. You have to work every day, right? To try to get the muscle back. This is exactly the same. So every day, having your daily rendezvous with yourself, and, and check how you feel, check what you decided to change. Where are you? Did you do your best? And so on. So this is what mind shift is about, writing your own story.
So let me pause here for a little bit, because I think we kind of glossed over something that's critical, a prerequisite, if I may say so, which is this notion of self-awareness. I would say most people that are very successful in a very high leadership capacity got there because their mindset or their attitude or their belief system is so codified that they believe that it's a repeat and rinse, meaning that it works, and every time they execute it, to succeed. Let's take the example of Elon Musk. Now, without getting into too much detail, we know that he's a workaholic, and he imbues that philosophy onto his employees to the point where it's almost unreasonable. And he has the ability to be empathetic at times and even humorous at times with his employees or coworkers, but at the same time can turn on a dime and become one of the most critical, hypercritical, and harsh, just, punisher without giving anybody a second chance. So the notion is, how do we deal with the fact that most leaders may not even be aware that they need to adapt and evolve, change their stories, and become this different type of an archetype that's not this idealized superhero, the commanding type, but that of the one that is a human leader, right? So talk about the awareness aspects, and then what do you think is kind of the journey that they have to go through to undergo that change? You talked about looking at it, changing the stories and evaluating it, but I feel like it's both an internal process, but it also needs to be guided by something else, right? Including other people.
Yes. Guided by something, I think higher than ourselves, I think this is the main thing to answer at the end. But anyway, so self-awareness, this is very good questions. We are not self-aware. You need a mirror to be self-aware. So as a leader, the 360 or whatever, or walking with somebody, is going to help you to be self-aware, because you don't know. You cannot see yourself, in your back. Okay, this is one thing. But why? But the first thing is you need, as a leader, as a person, you need to want to do it. So some people, they don't want, they just don't want to do it. That's all. They don't want. And if you ask me why, I don't know, because I don't know everyone. But from my experience, is because behind that, there are fears. Because as you said, they have been successful like that. Why should I change? Why should I change? Okay, sometimes I'm not that successful. Sometimes I'm not that, but you need to want to change. Nobody can force you. And at one point, something happened in your life. You hit the wall. And this is when you realize, gosh, what's happening? And so this is the problem. You cannot push. You cannot do anything for them. I cannot help you if you don't want to be helped. This is basic, but this is true. And so if really you feel like, okay, maybe I can do even better than I do today, or maybe there is even another way to do it, or maybe because expectation of people change, or because the world is transitioning, maybe I can try something else. You need courage to do that. You need a lot of courage to be here and bold and say, I need help. And you have to just find, the right person or things, to help you to do that. Could be a spiritual leader, could be a mentor, could be a coach, could be whatever. But there are many ways, in fact, to work on yourself. But really, the first step is really to realize and to want to. Because sometimes, people tell you, they tell you, okay, no, it doesn't work like that. But you cannot take it because of those fears. You are afraid to fail. That's easy, especially again when you have been successful or you are successful. But what you don't understand is you will be even more successful. Even more. And you will be guided by something, helping others, to grow and, taking care of them, you will find something just bigger than you, and you will find your purpose in life, and you will find your why. Why are we here on earth? One day you will not be anymore, say CEOs. Okay, maybe you will have a lot of money, and you will get old like everyone, and you will leave this planet as everyone. How do you want to leave this planet? What memories do you want to let behind you? And so this is my answer. You cannot oblige, but the first step, the first step is to be aware of it, of course, and to want to have the courage, face your fears and do through, this journey, and begin this journey from mind traps, mind shift, mind build, because it's a journey, as you said, it's not a destination. And this is what is beautiful about that, because, you discover many things.
So I think one of the things that you talked about is this notion of fear. And also, I think kind of embedded in that is this notion of failure. The truth of the matter is that most people, it's just part of the human condition, is that they are going to run up against roadblocks and challenges. There may be a very small, very, very small, a sample size of people that may just have continuous successes. But the reality is all of us are going to have lessons learned. And it's those lessons learned, it's when we hit that wall that it's an opportunity for introspection. And the metaphor that I use is if you've always worked on automotive transmissions all your life, and suddenly you have to change jobs and now you're a cake decorator and you're trying to bring your auto mechanic tools to make your cake, it's just not going to work, right? So it's you have to bring the right tools for the right job, and the context is going to change. So the adaptability is critical. Now, I have to say, and something which I think is, men are maybe, I think, more linear in thinking, but women, I think, tends to be more holistic in thinking process, including taking into account some of these empathetic aspects. And in some ways, there's plenty of studies that show that women make great leaders for that reason. But going back to what we were talking about early on is this notion of dichotomy of empathy. Is fundamentally underneath it is the principal agency problem, where you want to be empathetic. I think most leaders, for the most part, they desire to have a vision. They desire to lead the people around that vision and be able to be sensitive to understand people's emotions and needs and inspire them, right? However, at the same time, as a boss, you're under the gun to push for productivity. Right now, the big thing that everybody's talking about in innovation is generative AI and how we're going to plug it into every possible thing, from workflows, enterprise, from sales, marketing, to creativity and content. It's about increasing bottom line. So how do we recognize and how do we reconcile the fact that this employee lost a family member, this employee is dealing with mental health issues, but I have to figure out how to crack the whip, whether it's back to the office policy, right, that we know that disproportionately hurts young mothers who are trying to juggle and care for their young children and still working full-time and trying to stay on top of their household matters. So how do we as leaders reconcile and make this work in a realistic scenario?
This is not easy. To be leaders and CEO today, it's very hard because you need a lot of resilience. But okay, let's try to make it very simple. What I believe is everything, empathy, again, start with yourself. So clarity of what drives you, how you want to be remembered, just what we said before, right? And how you want to show up. Your why, your purpose is very important. This is where you come back every time. Every time there is a storm, you come back here. It's within. So as a leader, I like to say that you are the captain of the ship. So, okay, so you are this captain. And you have to give the true north. True north for me is the direction, the vision, where you're going. But don't forget the why, the purpose of the company. So what is important is to share this purpose with all the people, your team and everything, and try to see how your own purpose can, match with the purpose of the company. So it's a work, team has to work on that. So imagine, so you are, in this ship, and you are just, the captain of the ship, and we have the crew, and the crews, they know why they are here. They know they are important because you tell them that, you empower them, you know what's going on. So this is how you are going to empower everyone and make, your ship goes faster and where you want to go. Back to the empathy thing. So what that means? Empathy comes from, a German word. And this word means feeling with. Feeling with, really. It's really this ability to put yourself in other shoes, to feel what you feel. So again, start by yourself. How do you feel today? Are you aware of your emotions? The more you do that, the more you increase your empathy and the way to do it. And so with people, as you said, it's the fear of, facing emotions, your emotions and the emotion of others. The fact that, imagine you are in a meeting and imagine that, yes, okay, so you give this space for people to express themselves. And one person says that she lost, somebody. The thing is, you are not here to fix it. You are just here to give the person the space to express himself. And just the fact that you can say, I lost my dad. You connect, because those emotions make you connect with others. And that's all. You cannot fix it. Nobody can fix it. But at least as a human being, you can express yourself. That's all.
So we are out of time. And I think just to kind of wrap up everything is that, I think what you're saying is exactly what I in many ways, I very much live by as well. And starting with the North Star, where it's not just changing goals, but it's something that, like a North Star, truly stays with you for the rest of your life. And ultimately, I think people want it to be treated with respect. If we're willing to treat ourselves with respect, we have to treat others with dignity and respect. And that goes with the extension of empathy. So with that, I have been joined by Hortense le Gentil, author of The Unlocked Leader. Thanks for joining today.
Thank you for.
If you've enjoyed this episode, take a moment to rate our show on any podcast platform that you listen to. Scroll down to the bottom and push 5 stars. It's that easy. And as always, thanks for listening.